Hi, I'm Robert with Mountain America's Financial Education Team. I'm here to talk a little bit about facing financial uncertainty and how to do so without making poor financial decisions and emotional decisions, keeping a financial perspective. Our brains don't help us in times of financial uncertainty, particularly when we're feeling maybe in crisis mode. Our brains process experiences emotionally faster than they do rationally. And so it can be very easy to allow that emotion that comes so quickly to override our rational thinking, and we can make some bad decisions. For example, not financially related, but we've all stubbed our toe, probably on a door frame, and we can feel that anger, that frustration welling up inside of us, and our knee-jerk reaction to flash out against that door frame and punch it, thus injuring ourselves again. It's a poor decision, but it's easy to make, and it happens quick. We don't have time for our rational brain to kick in. We probably also have that same experience though when that stubbing of the toe happens. Based on past experience, we're able to take a breath, remember that the pain will subside fairly quickly. It's not a good idea to hit the door frame. That's what we need to do with financial decisions in times of crisis as well. Because our brains also default to feeling threatened. Not only do we more quickly process things emotionally, but we default to feeling threatened, which can be a great self-preservation tool. That fight or flight kicks in and we get out of there or we take care of the problem. But it's mostly useful when there's a tangible threat, something that we feel we can recognize and do something about, something that we can see or hear or touch. But when it's more virtual, when we see an account balance dip in a worldwide market that we're invested in, and how do we control something like that, then we can start to feel that anxiety take over. When we don't know how long a pandemic might last and how much we might need to do, we start to spend lots and lots of money that maybe we don't have on things that we don't need for a period of time, instead of maybe taking a more measured approach. So in order to make these better financial decisions, I want to introduce you to a thought from Warren Buffett where he says to invest, and I would add budget or plan, successfully over a lifetime does not require a stratospheric IQ, unusual business insights, or inside information. What's needed is a sound intellectual framework for making decisions. And most of us probably have those tools at our disposal. We know simple things like buy low, sell high, create the budget, stick to the budget, things like that. But we need that sound intellectual framework and the ability to keep emotions from corroding that framework. This is the tricky part. And one of the quickest steps, one of the first steps in that is understanding how we work, understanding how we process things. The next step would be to begin to think of your financial behavior in terms of goal-weighted returns. Measure everything that you do towards a specific goal, things that you value, things that are most meaningful to you. That helps block out the noise, and it helps give you a standard to compare to, especially if you've been able to write it down. We call this the alignment model, and you can see here we begin with those things that are most meaningful, the values, the boundaries within which we don't want to cross, or the boundaries within which we want to exist in our lives. And from those values come our values and beliefs come our goals and our plans. And if we can get those written out clearly, then that begins to more easily dictate our behavior, and kind of keeps us in our personal perspective, helps us understand, no, this is where we want to go. It helps us keep the moment momentary. We can begin to understand that this dip in the market is like other dips in the market. We can begin to understand, take an inventory of what we have and not rush out and overspend. So keep that in mind. How you work, how you function. Take some time if you haven't to take that breath, work through the alignment model, get things on paper, get things clear, and make sure that you are moving toward your financial dreams.